why did you decide that this was the way you wanted to kind of pivot this last season with the death of Howard Hamlin?
Oh boy, Jimmy and Kim, Bob and Ray's characters have been running a long-term scam on Howard, and it's been nothing but fun. It's been delightful, and they've had a great time doing it, and they've had a great time with each other. But it felt like in life there are always unexpected consequences, and sometimes they're terrible consequences. And this felt like the right thing to do. I will say it's also very funny, by the way. So it's not all that.
No, but Ray and Bob, congratulations on your nominations. I wanted to ask the both of you, this final season, the first part of this final season, we've seen so much of the evolution of the relationship between Jimmy / Saul Goodman and Kim Wexler. And what we've learned more and more is how they're, for lack of a better expression, partners in crime. There's an earlier episode in the final, the first part of the final seven, first part of the final six, season 6, where you guys are pulling the scam on Howard. And just for people who haven't seen it, it involves him allegedly being a drug addict, which he is not. You guys set him up. There's a great scene, Ray, where Kim is driving to essentially a clean job and gets a call from Jimmy saying there's a little bit of a problem and turns around. And in many ways, for long watching fans like myself of the show, that was kind of where you knew that Kim had really changed over to the dark side. I wanted to get from the two of you, what was that evolution like for these characters? Ray?
Thankfully, Peter and our writers' room have made these very subtle evolutions for sure, but they're nuanced and organic, and they continue to let the character dictate the plot. So, I think Bob would agree. We get to make these subtle changes. It's not like one day somebody decides to jump off a cliff. So as an actor, you get to just navigate the choice in front of you, and I do think it ends up making it more horrible to watch, but also more accessible sometimes to an audience member to see, we've all made just a slightly wrong decision, and then suddenly it amasses to many bad decisions until you're making a U-turn in the middle of the road. So I got to do these changes a little at a time, and sometimes you do the mental gymnastics to decide, she became very Machiavellian at one point, and she definitely stopped being able to let the conscience come forward to the front and started to just think that she was able to control the situation she was in.
We're just days away from the series finale of Better Call Saul, and one of the things that we've seen over this final series, the final season especially, as we've seen over the entire season, is we've learned so much about the backstory of Saul Goodman, who we first were introduced to in Breaking Bad. Bob, for you, that character, that evolution has sped up so much. So I wanted to get a sense of what that's been like for you over these final episodes.
Yeah, well, I discovered that, Saul is in play than Jimmy. There's not a lot of him there. So he's a facade and a simpler person to be. The things that are driving him, that he's thinking about at any moment, are a very limited number of things. And so it's weirdly a lot easier. I think the last couple episodes, he becomes a much richer character again. He's no longer hiding behind that facade, and he's actually very much confronting the demons inside him in the last 4 episodes of the season.
Peter, putting together a show like Better Call Saul, part of the fascination has always been about how you guys are going to get to the world of Breaking Bad. And certainly some of the questions are, one of the main questions, what happens to Kim Wexler? We're not going to really talk about that so much today in the specifics, but in the general sense, as you guys have moved through this 6th and final season, especially the first part, those first 7 episodes, how has it been for you guys constructing that narrative? And do you kind of know where you want it to go? And obviously you know how the show's going to end, but the way it's worked with the reaction from the fans and the way you just seen this tremendous performance by your main actor.
Yeah, look, we had no idea when we started how important it was going to be to us, to the show, and a lot of it's due to Ray and her, amazing multi-layered performance she gave, especially in the first season, with very limited material. And part of the fun of making a television series is getting to watch what the actors do with the material and learn about the character from that. We found out that Kim Wexler had so much so many layers and so much more depth. And I think a lot of the question this season was, how far is she really going to go? The first half of the season is how far is she going to go? Why is she doing the things that she's doing? And we certainly had ideas, but sometimes keeping those questions open is more interesting than answering them directly. I think the answers are all right there, but it's right there for our brilliant audience to find. But those are the things we were thinking about. And of course, Dominic, it's the greatest compliment in the world to start a show with the legacy that this one did, and at this point, everyone's asking about Ray's character, who's new to this show. So it's a great compliment to Ray and to everybody who's worked on the show. That we've moved on, hopefully. Not completely beyond the legacy, but we've maybe built on the legacy of Breaking Bad.
Absolutely. Bob, for you.
Thank you, Peter. Very kind words.
With Ray joining Better Call Saul and Kim being a vital new addition to the story, and then hence now informing the backstory of Breaking Bad, what has it been like for you going through this final season so far? Because, to be honest, buddy, this isn't your first time on the final season rodeo.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I've been doing this character so long that part of me is thinking, when are we going back to Albuquerque to shoot? That's sort of in the back of my mind. I think I have to watch the story end, which you'll all do days, I guess. And when I see it end, when I see that conclusion that I know we acted out and it was so well done, I think it'll kind of have closure for me. And I'll really see that we're done shooting this story. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, we had a big goodbye day on our final day of shooting, but it just doesn't feel like it's over for me yet. And I'm starting to feel it as I watch this last scene play.
Ray, one of the things that we've always seen about Better Call Saul is the obvious and almost immediate attraction between your Kim character and Bob's Jimmy, now Saul. And that the way that has evolved and changed over the seasons to the point now where they're a married couple, as we saw in that clip with domesticity, sitting around in their sweats watching movies, though not ending the way they thought they were going to in this case. I know that you guys spent a lot of time together in Albuquerque. Bob mentioned you guys filming there, out where the show takes place, and you guys were literally roommates in many ways. But give us a sense of what that process is like for you as an actor, creating that sense of intimacy between these two characters who are so emotionally in sync.
It starts with the writing, 100%. The fact that they write there, and Bob and I talk about this a lot. There are explosive scenes and emotional scenes that are challenging, and you have to work very hard on them, and we do, and we love them. But Bob and I also have a special affinity for the smaller scenes that are sort of the texture and the fabric of the life between these two characters that we both feel informs those more explosive scenes. It makes them more real. And Peter and our writers write those scenes, these toothbrushing scenes, these sharing takeout scenes, breakfast, watching a movie, and they're not nothing. It's not that they have no weight, they have tremendous weight, but it's the weight of life and this tether between people that, if you've known somebody for a very long time, you can't even say want to get takeout or want to watch a movie without having a host of thoughts about she always picks so-and-so movie, or don't get Chinese again, or who went out last time. And Bob and I enjoy so much finding the subtext and the life that is vital in those, and they are sometimes much harder to play. And what's possibly even harder is finding directors and editors that will protect those pauses and that life and let that breath happen, because your audience is smart enough to get it. And I truly believe that that's what built this relationship that we've been given so many compliments on, as far as the reality of the intimacy that, yes, it's romantic and sexual, but it's more than that. It's people that are each other's confidants. And we loved doing that.
Series finale of Better Call Saul airs on AMC on August 15th. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.